no one against. The questions agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, I declare the motion passed. Third members' motion, ensuring the completion of public housing and infrastructure projects on schedule. Members who wish to speak in the motion debate, please press the request to speak button. I now call upon Honorable James Tien to speak and move the motion. Honorable James Tien. President, I have to first of all declare that I am in the property development business, but I am not involved in any infrastructural projects of the government, and I'm not a developer myself, or I'm not a contractor myself. President, I think we have an executive-led government, and in the process of governance, there are many problems, and the situation is worrying. One term of government may start to do something, but the next term of government may not carry on with it. If this goes on, I don't want to see Hong Kong remaining stagnant for 50 years. Today, we are talking about public housing being completed on schedule, and also infrastructural projects being completed on schedule. This concept, of course, includes completion on budget. Let's talk about our infrastructural projects. I'd like to cite a few examples. Number one, the 5 new railways managed by the MTRCL, the ERL, Western Island Line, SCL, SIL, and also Kwun Tong Extension, all are being delayed. Number two, WKCD. There is a serious delay. The $21.6 billion will only give us phases 1 and 2. Phase 3 will not be seen any time soon. And number 3, the airport is yet to build the third runway, but then the pricing has already shot beyond $200 billion. And number 4, Lian Tang boundary checkpoint. In just 2 years, the cost has jumped by $8 billion, from 16 billion to 24 billion. Just 2 days ago, we have got this paper from the administration on Tong Hao. This is about the terminal building and also the cross-boundary checkpoint facilities. In 2007, we endorsed $3.3 billion, but now the price tag is $6.9 billion. All these projects have experienced delays as well as overspending. Also, I'd like to talk about public housing. What does the government intend to do? It says that within 10 years, from 2013-14 to 2022, they look to build 470,000 units, including 200,000 PRH, 80,000 HOS, and also 190,000 private units. Compared to the last 10 years, from 2003 to 2013, which saw a completion of 300,000 units, I think the difference is 1.5 times. Do you think we can complete the units on schedule? Mr. Raymond Chen, what are those 2 placards for? Mr. Deputy, thank you for mentioning this before other members mention it. I am prepared to explain this to you. Mr. James Tien is moving a motion to talk about timely completion of public housing and infrastructural projects. This has everything to do with the NTNE project. 612 hectares are involved, and 320 hectares can be developed. I am making a ruling that these 2 placards have nothing to do with this motion. Members, please also help to reason. The 2 members, if you continue to be unreasonable, I would think that you are guilty of misconduct. I'm now warning you too. Please sit down and remove the 2 placards. I have already heard you. I don't want to listen to you on end. No, I haven't come to my point yet. I have already made a ruling. Before you make a ruling, you have to listen to members. My ruling cannot be debated. Please put away the 2 placards. Please sit down. Mr. James Tien. Yes, Mr. Deputy. Mr. Albert Chan, I am of the view that you are guilty of gross misconduct. If you do it again, I will ask you to leave. I'm just holding it. I'm just holding it. You are not speaking. You cannot hold it in your hands. Mr. James Tien, are you arguing with me? Mr. James Tien. Mr. Deputy, I was talking about the number of public housing flats that in the next 10 years, and together with other types of housing, 470,000, it is 1.5 times the 300,000 built in the last decade. If we do not have enough construction workers, how can we materialize that? And also, there is already a problem in the construction industry. We lack almost 10,000 skilled workers. Even in construction sites that have works going on, there are already delays. To solve this problem, what can we do? I believe there can only be 3 possibilities. Number 1, President or Mr. Deputy, we do not have a quorum. Mr. Albert Chan, please sit in your seat and do not speak in your seat.
田北俊議員。
Mr. James Tien. Yes, Mr. Deputy. Just now, I was saying that since there is this problem, meaning that so many infrastructural projects are experiencing delay, that public housing projects also lack workers, what can we do? Actually, you can see from the amendment motions that there can just be three possibilities. One, postpone all the projects. Let ERL be delayed for more than 2 years and other railways be delayed for 2-3 years. And then we can even wait 8-10 years for those projects to be completed. That's all right. And this is on the assumption that there will not be any new infrastructural projects. And then we can space out these projects like people not getting ahead with orders in the factories. Well, I think the Liberal Party and many people in the business community will think that this is not a solution. You space out your projects. That means an escalation in cost. And if infrastructural projects are not completed on time, the public will not be able to enjoy the use of them. So this is not going to benefit the public, and there will be cost overrun, and the taxpayers will have to foot the bill. So the extension of time or spacing out projects is not a solution. Secondly, to train up people. And of course, in Europe, like in Spain, if the unemployment rate is 20%, then you have a lot of people you can train up. You just put up an advertisement, and then young people would flock forward to become construction workers. But then we have an unemployment rate of only 3.3%. Where can you find workers? And I'm talking about trained, skilled construction site workers. It is not just anyone who can be a construction worker. Therefore, training or retraining is not an option either. Number 3, that is the only possibility, and that is provisionally. Within the period of construction of infrastructural projects, we try to get other people to help, and I'm talking about importation of labor. Of course, we also have the supplementary labor scheme already. But let us take a look at this supplementary labor scheme and what have we done under the scheme in these years. 2009, only approval of 7 workers. 2010, only 1. I don't know why. There was only 1 construction worker. 2011, 14, 2012 is better, 284. 2013, 566. But then we lack 10,000 workers, and you only give us a few hundred every year. You will never be able to meet the demand. And then in the colonial era, when we had more effective governance, when we built the Chek Lap Kok Airport, we had the special labor importation scheme. At that time, in May 1990, the government set up a special scheme to import 2,000 construction workers. And then the number was changed to 5,500. And in 1998, the airport was completed. So, Mr. Deputy, I am of the view that with regard to public housing and large infrastructural projects, and to benefit the people in the waiting list, who are 200,000 grassroots, I'm not talking about the building of luxury flats. Why? We cannot get support of the labor sector when we are talking about benefit for the entire community. There are not so many construction workers, and they have full employment among them. In the circumstance, if we are not talking about tens of thousands of construction workers on a continuous basis, then why can't we consider having a limited scheme of a few years so we can complete the infrastructural projects and public housing? Mr. Deputy, I'm aware that amongst the amendments, Mr. Lee Cheuk-yan, Kok Wai-kang, Wu Chi-wai, and Pun Siu-ping all crossed out the words importation of labor. Of course, they added in other things. I believe they are not going to support my motion. Mr. Deputy, I'm also aware that in the meeting over these 2 days, the two Mr. Chans have always asked for quorum counts, and so the efficiency at this meeting is very low. I'm of the view that if we continue to debate this motion and if there is no way for it to be carried and if it is a waste of time for all members, then here you say that, President, you asked me to speak and move the motion. Now I decide not to move the motion. I'm not moving the motion. Just now, Mr. James Tien has not moved his motion. No members, therefore, can amend the motion. The meeting is adjourned.